Hey, Whoopdar. I actually pretty much agree with your video, but I don't want to dismiss completely what people like Daniel Quinn are saying, um, because I don't really interpret what was said in Ishmael um, to mean exactly that we should just walk away from the city and return to the jungle and start living like nomadic uh, hunter-gatherers again. Um, that's not really possible for 7 plus, or what will be 7 plus billion people. Um, our new jungle is the city. It's the world of symbols and technology, and we can't just get rid of all that stuff. Um, but here's what Daniel Quinn, I think, was talking about. He wants us to walk away from an idea, not a place. Um, Walk away from a way of life, a perspective on what the natural world is. Uh, in the book, he talks about agriculture being the beginning of the taker culture, or the um, unnatural, greedy, destructive, exploitative uh, culture that has infected what is, in and of itself, a highly efficient, um, just, natural world. Um, a world that doesn't go to extremes, doesn't go to war. But you pointed out something interesting, Mukhtar, that no matter what human beings do, ultimately it is natural. It's just what has happened over the course of evolution. That's true, and we can't really blame this special, magical thing about man for changing him from a good, peaceful, innocent animal into this devilish, um, capitalist or whatever. Or, but at the same time, you would, I think, agree that the only reason we're going to try to fix this is because we think we do have some type of freedom, we have some type of awareness of what's going on and the ability to change it. Otherwise, what would be the point, right? It doesn't necessarily have to be free will. It's completely unconditioned by the past. And I don't want to get philosophical in this video, but we feel like we have the ability to change the world. So we want to do something. Now, agriculture. The problem, which was just related to the human species' newfound technology of planting and keeping track of the seasons, and really just turning food into a technology. It's sort of, we reached into nature and grabbed control of this very fundamental activity, or activity of nourishment. It sustains us, allows our populations to grow, which allowed our society to sort of stratify into this hierarchy, so that there were some people who farmed, and some people who kept track of records, and some people who governed, and some people who were soldiers, and some people who were craftsmen, and all people got to specialize. Eventually, some people got to become priests, and religion started. Some people got to become thinkers, and philosophy started, and universities, schools, and education started. And these are all, you would think, good things that agriculture allowed. But the problem is the food surpluses are always owned by somebody. Not everybody. Marx and communism, he wanted to turn everybody into an owner, but the thing is, there's no such thing as an owner without slaves. And people don't understand the concept of production and industry and working hard for a living unless they own somebody else. And so communism, there's no motivation to do it, it seems. It's kind of not really getting to the root of the problem of what the capitalist free enterprise system of owners and workers, or really slaves. But if we can't get rid of agriculture, we can't return to the jungle, but the owner-slave or owner-worker, master-slave relationship, whatever you want to look at it as, back when agriculture first started, it was the people that the governments or the tribal leaders that controlled the food surpluses that had the power, and everyone else had to work for that food. They also had the armies. They had the ability to force others to obey in order to be fed, because people lost the knowledge of sustaining themselves off just the natural world without all this agriculture. So this gave leaders a lot of power, and if we go down to today, thousands of years later, it's the same situation. We haven't left the Middle Ages when they're monarchs. They're not kings. They don't live in castles, and we don't acknowledge them as being in control of us. It's all behind the scenes. It's the bankers and the money lenders and the people that pull the strings of the economy, because they have all the money. They own all the wealth. We're their slaves. We work to pay off interest to money that they have loaned us to go about our business, our middle class bourgeois life, where we think that we're free, we own our own house, and we can buy our own car and our own gadgets. And the problem is none of it's ours. We're borrowing it from our masters. That's the situation. That's the civilization that we need to walk away from. And how we do that, I think, it requires as much of a shift in the way we perceive the world as it does a shift in how we behave, because we're not really going to be able to change or alter our behavior in the right way until we've seen the game that's going on. YouTube is a good place to try to work this out, I think, because it sort of subverts the mass media propaganda machine, and we can get below the scenes and pull the plug, maybe get people to start thinking for themselves instead of being hypnotized by their masters. We don't want to return to primitivism. We actually want to become more intelligent, more cultured enough to see that culture is a construct and a matrix, and that those in power can control us if they know how to manipulate our emotions in the right way. So let's walk away from that, not necessarily technology. Technology can be used in a far more sustainable way than it's being used today, just to make money, to exploit other people. So I think we can agree on most of what I've said, Wookdar, but if not, let me know where you differ, and we'll go from there. Alright? Thanks for listening.